Hello and welcome to Spotlight Series, brought to you by YWCA Spokane. I'm Jasmine and I'm so excited to launch this special series where we'll be shining a light on the incredible organizations and individuals who are making a difference in our community. Whether you're tuning in from near or far, this series is all about connecting you to the heart of Spokane, its people, its work, and the stories that inspire us all. Each episode will dive into the impactful work happening right here in our community, learning from those who are leading change, supporting others, and creating a brighter future for everyone. We'll explore how we can all be part of the solution in building a more just and inclusive community. So get comfortable and get ready to meet some amazing people and learn about the incredible work happening right here in Spokane.
Today we have Books to Prisoners with us, so I'll go ahead and allow them to introduce themselves.
Hi, I'm Ryan Louise. I prefer they, them pronouns.
Sam Lee, they, them.
Matt Slater, he, him.
Well, thank you so much for being here. I'm really glad we were able to find a time on our schedules, busy schedules, to find time to sit down and talk about the important work that you all do. So go ahead and tell me a little bit about your mission, the organization you work with, and how you came to be in your role as well. I'd love to hear that.
First of all, thank you for having us. It's really awesome to be able to get here and talk a little bit about what we do. So our mission is pretty much in the name of the organization. So we're Books to Prisoners Spokane, and what we do is send books to prisoners. Mm-hmm. We send books all over the nation to incarcerated people at their request. So they send us letters requesting either a specific title or a genre book that they prefer, and we send them a few books. So that's the gist of what we do. It's very simple.
And would you mind sharing a little bit about your role? Do you all share a similar role? I'd love to hear your kind of typical day or what your schedule consists of.
So we're an all-volunteer organization, and we're pretty non-hierarchical. So we're all just, members on the same plane. Do you all want to add anything to that?
I think because you're the founder, I definitely look to you to answer any questions that I don't know. You're definitely the first person I go to. But other than that, I would say it's non-hierarchical. It's just you know more out of everyone in the group.
Yeah. We all kind of we'll all read the letters, and we have a library. So we'll fulfill the letters and then package them. Certain people will mail them. I've never mailed any, but we all package them. So we kind of all know how to keep it moving, keep it working, and then when it comes to maybe financial stuff, Ryan kind of knows a little bit more about that. But,
yeah, and because we're all volunteers, we generally meet and package books about once a week. So we're all working people with other things going on in their life. So it's I think the fact that it's a completely volunteer-led organization makes it a really special space that, everyone's there just because they want to be.
If somebody wants to be involved and also volunteer, is that an option open to anybody, or is there a form they have to fill out, some kind of interview they have to go through? How does that work?
It's pretty informal. Generally, when people are interested or sign up at an event or something, we just direct people to send us an email because that's just kind of the easiest way for us to gauge what someone's specific interest is, or if they have a specific skill they want to learn, or if they just want to show up and package.
That sounds like fun. I love packaging things, so I'm definitely interested. I would love to. Also, I think it's really important to just go ahead and find different things in your community that you're able to help out in. I didn't know this existed before, and it's definitely something of my interest. Shipping things, being able to build a community and new communities, right, and being able to find what other resources that Spokane has to offer. So thank you for what you do. And I'd like to follow up with, you shared that this is volunteer-based and that you ship out the books. How do those that are incarcerated reach out to you, or do you reach out to them? How do you kind of compile your list of who would like to receive books?
There are a couple of ways. Mm-hmm. So since we started, we work with Books to Prisoners in Seattle, and they've been doing this since the 1970s. So when we first started here in Spokane, we reached out to them to help, and they generally send us letters that they receive from incarcerated folks, sort of on an as-needed basis, because we're so small and we only have so many resources. It really is a great partnership for us because we're able to just kind of go at the pace that we're able to. We also have sent out bookmarks in the past in mailing, so sometimes we get our own letters, not through Seattle, that are mailed to us through our fiscal sponsor. And that's always kind of fun because we know that means, you know, somehow through word of mouth or something that people found us here in Spokane.
Wow, it's incredible, and that is pretty amazing to be able to share one resource so others also benefit from it and receive what they'd like.
Well, we also have like direct connections with the juvenile detention center, so we give them like a box of books about a month, like once a month, and then also with the prison in Airway Heights, we have like a direct connection with those places. But again, we'll send them like all over the country.
Well, in your time of doing this, are there any challenges that you've come across? And if so, what were they? Something that you're currently facing?
Money. Yeah. We definitely need money. We're not a nonprofit and we're not an official business, right? We just have the fiscal sponsorship, so we can handle money that way. But it's really just, we need money to pay rent at the library that we have. We need money to send the packages of books. We need money to get specific book requests that people that are incarcerated ask from us. A lot of times legal books are just not things that we always have in stock, and they're really expensive. And incarcerated people need those resources, and so we go our way to get them.
Yeah, if somebody wanted to donate money, where could they do so?
The easiest thing to do is just to go to our website. It's bookstoprisonerspokane.org. There's a donation link. There's a banner on the website and there's a thing that says donate. There's an easy way to do it through an online portal that is connected to our fiscal sponsor, so people can make a tax-deductible donation to us if they like. That's the easiest way.
That's wonderful.
We're also like always looking to get more books for our library, but we have very like specific requests we'll get. But even like genre specific, like we're always looking for comic books, graphic novels, anime, stuff like that. And usually that goes through like emailing us, rather than just getting a box of like the books you don't want anymore dropped off. Like email us, ask us like what we're looking for at the time, and that's really helpful. Kind of can help fulfill. And certain prisons may not take like hardback books, and so we have to be kind of specific about what we take just to make sure we can use the donations we get.
That's wonderful to know.
Yep.
So, just to clarify, if somebody would like to donate, have a box of books, they should reach out first and clarify and ask, what is it that you're looking for? What is it that you're needing? Is there a list available online as well?
Yes, that is also on our website.
Oh, that's wonderful. Okay, great. So with this work that you're doing, have there been any misconceptions that you've come across as well? People hear books to prisoners, and what have you heard about that? And what would you like to clear up?
Cleared up. Yeah, I think I touched on it earlier, but we're volunteer run. Ryan mentioned that too. We're all really passionate about abolishing prisons. We don't think they should exist. And honestly, the people that are our core group, everyone believes that. And that's part of why non-hierarchy is important to us. Because a lot of times power can be hoarded. So we want it to be equitable. And speaking for myself, I want people that care about other people to be in the group with us. It's just not negotiable to me.
And we spoke about this a bit earlier, but just kind of tying into what Sam is saying, I think there's a common misconception that we're a more typical nonprofit organization with a leadership structure and a board and things like that. Mm-hmm. And we're just not, and that can be a challenge, but it also is a gift in many ways, because like what Sam was saying, you know, we're just all very committed people who have shown up to do this project over the past 8 years, have always been committed to being there and helping. I think there's a layer of misconception kind of on the other side of things as well. Like, people think that there are really rigid rules about like what can and can't be sent into a prison, but really there's so much variability between institutions of what people are allowed to even have and who it's received from and all this kind of stuff. So Seattle really does a good job of helping us keep track of that, but we get new restrictions lists, you know, constantly, like every couple of months or something, because these institutions are always updating their restrictions of, like I said, titles or just what kind of media people can have and things like that. So it's a lot to be aware of, and I think some people, they just have no idea, and I didn't have any idea before I started doing this work how much that can vary.
Yeah, for example, we just started getting, I think in the last couple of months, certain prisons only want new books. They have to be in like new condition, which is very challenging, you know, because then they have to go buy those books, which is another reason, you know, we need money. But we get so many donations of used books, but they're like, no used books. And so there's just challenges that just come up that, you know, makes it difficult for us. I also think there might be a misconception about, because you hear a lot about people going to school while they're in prison, and people may think that that's like an option, like, you know, you have access to these resources perhaps if you're incarcerated. And that's really just not true. And it is very variable from like institution to institution. But a lot of places, I mean, that's what the letters we're getting. They don't have access to books. That's why they're reaching out to us. And they could even be people that are like within programs, you know, that are going to school that don't have access to the resources they need for the very classes that they're taking. And so, you know, our prison system is punitive. It's not rehabilitative. And so the work that we do is to create that opportunity. The people that come out of, you know, incarceration, educated with like law degrees, you know, that's not, you know, that's not the prison system giving them that opportunity. Those are very ambitious people, you know. And so that's what we're here to help them do that, you know, as a resource for them.
Well, I didn't realize there were so many restrictions, like having a book to be new. That is very expensive.
Yep.
It's not environmental friendly is the first thing that came into my mind. Just, you know, it would be amazing if these places could take used books, and you're able to go to thrift stores, you're able to, you know, find these a lot more money friendly and economically.
Yeah.
Well, that's environmentally friendly. That's what I meant to say.
Yes.
Yeah.
And thankfully there are many institutions that will take used books, and we do exactly what you're saying. We'll go around to book traders and second look books and page 42, and we do go gather a lot of books that way as well as the donations we get. But it just varies so much.
Are you made aware of these updated restrictions, or is it something that you have to keep an eye out for?
Seattle helps us. I'm not sure who within Books to Prisoners Seattle is doing that legwork constantly of keeping their eye on that, but I'm really thankful to whoever that person is if you're ever watching this, because it's a lot to keep up with.
I know I get those emails from Andy,
Mhm.
and over in Seattle it is a nonprofit, and so it is somebody's job, someone's task to keep those lists updated. But even though you were saying it's not, Ryan, it's not super rigid in the way that people think that it is, it never gets less restrictive. It's
Yeah.
always
But-
so
but-
restrictive.
Sure.
Yes.
And you mentioned local thrift stores here in Spokane. Are there any that you are kind of in collaboration with? Like, hey, we're looking for these books. If you get them, then let us know. Is that an approach that you take?
We have worked with some bookstores in certain ways, not exactly in the way that you're speaking about, and that would be great to do. But we have worked with Giant Nerd in the past where they've had a lot of books that they came into and have let us go and sort through the books and take the ones we want. we had a great collaboration with Wishing Tree Books last year with a matching grant from the whole foundation. So we had like sort of a little book drive there, and then this foundation matched like the cost of every book that was purchased for us. And yeah, we're hoping to do more things like that in the future because we have some great, and I feel like it's like few but mighty, great local bookstores in Spokane.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think that'd be amazing to see, you know, two local communities come together for that one project. That'd be exciting. But so is it just the three of you? Is there more? What's the number of volunteers that you have that help put these packages together and just really help out?
Probably about 6 really
Regular.
active people, I would say, regular people right now. It's always kind of been in the world of like 4 to 6 pretty active, like what I think of as core members. And then sometimes there will be other people coming in and out of the mix.
And what would be your hope 5 years from now? What would you love to have, to see? Where would you like to be?
Yes.
We got really wild talking about this the other day.
Yeah. Well, currently we're out of the Unitarian Universalist Church, and we just have a room in one of their wings, and it's not a huge room. That's sometimes why we say, like, we need specific donations, because we don't have infinite space. So the idea of having more space would be really great at some point. Yeah. Just so we could have, more books. We get certain requests for certain things. It's like, oh, if we only just had more, like, no question about whether or not we have them. It's like queer romance novels, like just specific stuff that we get where it's like, of course we should have a ton of that stuff, Anime always comes up. I feel like we get requests for that. It's like, we do get donations for that, but then they get requested so quickly. We'll be like, oh, we have so many. I remember I found a bunch of like National Geographics, and I was like, oh yeah, cool. So you don't have to like think hard about it. You're just like, oh, give them a couple. People ask like, all they want is National Geographics, and it's like sometimes we may not be able to just give you National Geographics because we don't have a ton of those. So it'd just be nice to have more space and something like that.
Yeah, my dream is to have a library of social justice books, and my dream is to be able to center Black and Indigenous authors that write about our socio-political climate and be able to send that out.
Yeah. I think we have a lot of dreams of expansion, and we're also living in such an uncertain time right now that for me, and I don't want to speak for you all, but it's hard not to let that like color the in 5 years question either, because in 5 years we could be living in a really different world. I don't know how.
Well, things even just like how much it costs to send our packages goes up it's gone up a lot, even like the fee, like since I've started working with it, since it was founded, because what was the average cost when we founded it?
It was about $3, between 3 and 4.
Yeah.
Now it's almost twice that.
Yeah, so, and that's very up in the air right now, like what is happening with the, U.S. Postal Service. So, yeah, I think we have big dreams. Like, we even talked about the idea of having, like, kind of a book club where you send out books, and, like, so you have different, incarcerated people reading the same books and kind of doing, like, a book club thing together. But it's kind of like pie in the sky type ideas, where it takes more and more money to just do the work that we're currently doing.
We have been doing more collaborations. We've been making a point to do things such as this, and like I said, we're really grateful for the opportunity, because no matter what happens in the next 5 years, like we're going to keep going and doing this work. So we've also been thinking about potentially pivoting to doing more local or regional distribution that wouldn't cost so much money to ship and things like that. But yeah, more events, and we just want to continue to foster the connections that we already have and continue to create more connections here in this community, in our Spokane community, as well as this sort of national community that we're a part of.
Yeah, working with other organizations that help incarcerated people. Just kind of building. Because there's a lot of people that care deeply, about helping incarcerated people. And we want to work with them, like we're all in this together.
Absolutely, I do agree with that. We are all in this together, and whatever somebody can contribute, 5 minutes or 20 minutes or a quick look up on research on finding out something, it all matters, right? Especially when it's all volunteer based, when every little bit makes a difference. How did you each hear about Books to Prisoners, and how did you become involved with it? You founded it. So yeah, what happened there? How did that happen?
I sort of came up in the DIY community. I used to volunteer a lot at the Birds Nesting Library back when it was inside of Merlin's, and I'm sort of dating myself there. So I was sitting there reading a lot of zines, and I lived in a punk house, and I was kind of in that type of community, so I was sort of always aware in the back of my mind that this is a thing that happens in other cities. Books to Prisoners is a thing. I also used to love going to Left Bank Bookstore in Seattle when I was a kid, and we'd visit there, which is they're like in partnership with Books to Prisoners. So I was always sort of aware it was a thing and thought it'd be cool to have that here. And it was the first time that Trump was elected. A lot of people were sort of freaking out, especially a lot of like white liberal people in my vicinity were having this sort of moment of like, how could this have happened? And I definitely was a bit caught up in that and just wanted to do more. And then at some point I was connected with Micah Killjoy, who co-founded Books to Prisoners with me, and now they left the country. They live in Canada now, but once we were connected, because somebody who knows us both said, "Oh, you both have talked about wanting to do this," then the ball sort of got rolling, and we kind of kept each other accountable to figuring out how to set it all up, and Seattle was really instrumental in helping us do that. So that's kind of how that went down.
I've been friends with Ryan for over 20 years, so I knew when they founded it. But when I moved back to Spokane in December 2019 is around the time I started helping. Yeah.
I used to live in Bellingham. This is a long time ago. But they had a Books to Prisoners in Bellingham, and they did that when I was in college. And I loved it, and then I ended up moving back to Spokane in like 2021. And yeah, I guess I was back here, like, what am I going to do? I used to like working with Books to Prisoners. So I just looked it up and like sent an email. I was like, hey, there's a Books to Prisoners Spokane. Cool. Like, what are y'all doing? And yeah, started volunteering, just answering letters, and yeah, here we are.
And despite the challenges and the uncertainties that are currently going on, and that you may come across, what is it that motivates you to keep going and kind of making that positive outlook?
That's a tough one.
I don't think I have a positive outlook. I think I've always been a realist, so to me, it's so important to know what exactly is going on and how this country operates. We live in a white supremacist, capitalist, colonialist country. And to me, that means it is more important to do the work that we do. To me, it is, as long as I'm on this planet, it is my job and my duty to make sure that I'm doing everything I can to dismantle what we call America.
Yeah, I teach behavioral intervention, which is just like kids that have, struggle learning, in traditional environments. They're generally kind of angry, get in trouble a lot. And a lot of the students that I work with have parents that are incarcerated. And so that is just a constant reminder of like how important it is. And, I see through them how books can be like kind of a connector between the kids and their parents. And it's, to teach lessons, just to have something to go back to read, even books to their children while they come to visits and stuff like that. So it can be really powerful. So that's always, always telling me how important it is. Also, our prison system is constantly growing. It's getting bigger. So, as it gets more expensive and more restrictive to send these resources, more are needed. So there's more of a need for it.
Yeah, I think the fact that the need is there is motivation enough to keep going.
Mm-hmm.
And I really believe in mutuality, and I think that this particular group of people has done a great job of honoring our own needs and abilities, and taking a step back or a step forward as we're able as individuals. And that, it's a huge motivation as well, just knowing that we have this mutual support within our group of people to do whatever we need to be able to maintain the work that we're doing.
And honestly, just reading the letters and how impactful the books are is plenty of motivation. Because they love the books, but then just also the fact that somebody will read their letter and somebody is listening and somebody cares about them while they're incarcerated. Now, if our punitive system is such that you remove people from community, and so the idea that no, you're not removed from community, not to us. We are here to hear you and listen to you, and the books, when people read them, it's a chance to not feel like a prisoner for a moment, and to find freedom within this, punitive, oppressive system that is growing and growing. And that to me is motivation enough, just to see how impactful it can be. Every book, we so often get letters where they're like, I read your books, and then immediately, we pass them all around, and then we put them in the prison library, and it's just, we want to grow our library. It's if people in that situation can be that hopeful, and thankful, it's the least we can do is to continue doing the work.
Yeah, absolutely. That's so inspirational, everything that you've shared. And it just makes me think about how, society tends to tuck away these people and forget about them. Where this letter, they send it out and somebody takes the time to read it, and it is you're humanizing them again. Mm-hmm. And that is such a valuable thing to them, and to build that community and that connection, it's super powerful and brings a positivity in their life, which is something that is needed at that point. So thank you so much for what you do. That's beautiful. What's the average number of letters? Do you receive them weekly, monthly?
Well, we receive letters as we can handle them, sort of like I mentioned before. I know it has varied a lot, especially during those first years of the pandemic. Things were really haywire. I'm pretty sure that Seattle receives a couple of thousand letters a month. So quite a few.
Yeah.
And we take our little piece of that that we can take on.
So it's kind of up to you. Okay, we can handle this number of letters.
Yep.
This time around. So as the number of volunteers keeps growing, the number of letters that you receive can also go up.
Yes. But money is generally our limiting factor before volunteer capability is.
Mm-hmm.
I would love to be in a place where volunteer hours is our limiting factor because we're just not worried about money.
Yeah, it would be really cool. That's a five-year thing, to just do a huge event where people could come in and read the letters, and we have so many books, no worry about as many letters as we could possibly do, and to just let people read the letters, fulfill them, package them, just kind of experience that. But yeah, so often it is how much money do we have? How many books do we have?
Well, stepping a little bit away from the volunteer work that you do, I'd love to hear a little bit about yourself. Whether it's a fun fact, something that you like to do out in the Spokane community, maybe other groups you're part of. I'd love to hear about it.
Fun fact.
That's fun.
Hobbies.
I'm an actor, so I like to act. I'm doing a show. It opens June 13th at Stage Left. It's called Top Dog Underdog. It's fun.
It is fun.
Yeah.
I'm kind of a plant person. That's what I'm doing for work currently. I'm a gardener and a garden designer, and so I am excited because this is the first summer in a while that I'm staying here in Spokane and not working a seasonal job somewhere else. So I'm looking forward to like being at the farmers markets more and kind of rubbing elbows more with like the Washington Native Plant Society is something I really like, and just that whole I love looking at plants and photographing them and all kind of stuff like that. That's what I'm excited about right now because it's
fun. I don't know. I love reading. All of us love reading.
Yeah.
yeah.
So that's, part of the reason why we love being at the library and do this. I love karaoke. I love doing that. Not in public. I hate that. So, but yeah, I don't know. I think fun is hard for me because so much of my life is thinking analytically and critically about what is going on. So I don't really get a break from that. I don't really give myself a break from that. I don't know how to do that. So no matter what I'm doing, it always goes back to politics.
I think I've asked all of my Spotlight interviewees in the past a question that is so fitting for all of you here. But physical book or an e-reader book?
Oh my gosh, physical.
Yeah.
I've never used an e-reader, but I am an audiobook person to a degree. So I probably read more physical books than audiobooks, and I know that's not the question you asked. But I feel like audiobooks deserve a little bit of a shout out. I love it, especially when they're read by the author.
Oh, yeah.
It just feels really
Oh,
intimate.
yeah.
But physical books are
Yeah, I don't think I've ever read a book on a reader.
No, I've
Yeah,
never.
I can't do it.
I have a Kindle. I used to love reading growing up, and then school kind of ruined it for me. So then I stopped reading, and then I just recently picked it up last fall, I think, because my sister got me a Kindle.
Oh, cool.
And oh my gosh, I love reading again. And I think for me, it's just easier to hold. I can fit it in my purse, in my bag really easily. It's the same size every time. Pick one font for the entire time. It's incredible. So I don't know, check it out. I highly recommend.
Yeah.
And I think it's also a great resource to be able to find those free books that are available on all online platforms. But I definitely have tried audiobooks, and I do like that very much, especially when it's read by the author. So.
Yeah. I know that people who travel a lot often really like their Kindle too, because you don't have to haul around a bunch of books, which I've often done.
That, and I baby my physical books too much. I'm like, no, I don't want to bend and I don't want to fold the pages. I want to take good care of them. So it definitely keeps that out of my mind with that.
Yeah, that's helpful.
Yeah. And then, is there any kind of hidden spot or a local gem that you like to go to, whether that's a restaurant, a theater, anything that you like to check out in Spokane you want to recommend to others?
Sam's Korean restaurant.
My parents run that, so feel obligated to say that. But no, it's also because it's actually good food. Yeah.
Yeah, genuinely amazing food at Sam's Korean restaurant. And it's a nice experience. I think eating in a restaurant,
Good.
It's a nice experience. I don't know that it's a hidden gem so much.
It's a hole in the wall. People will come in and be like, I've never seen this place before, because I just drive by it,
Where's it located?
1314 North Division, so it's in that same parking lot as the Dutch Bros and Zips. So it is tiny.
Yeah. I'll definitely have to check it out. I love going to new restaurants and just checking it out. So yeah, I definitely will.
the show I'm doing is at Stage Left Theater. This is like a little 60-seat theater. But yeah, I like it. It's very. They do shows that are socially conscious, that might not always be so easy to watch and make you a little bit uncomfortable. But I love that. I think that's the point of theater. I think that should be the point of books too, honestly. Yeah, I'm all about it. It is kind of I don't know, little hole in the wall. It's downtown. It's on 3rd. But yeah, they do great work there. Yeah, check it out.
Yeah, I like what you brought up. Sometimes there are topics that make people uncomfortable that we don't want to pay attention to, right? If I don't look at it, then it doesn't exist to me, kind of thing. And I forgot who said it, but I've kept it with me. And it is always to question, why is it making you uncomfortable? And reflect that question on yourself. And bring up a lot, and it doesn't necessarily require you having to say it out loud, but just think about it and sit in it. So I think it's great for people to go out and get out of their comfort zone.
Absolutely.
Any upcoming events that you'd like to share with the community for the summer or fall or the rest of 2025?
We're kind of in a strange spot with our planning right now, so we have 2 events that are coming up that by the time that this airs will have transpired, but I would like to mention it because these things may happen again. But we'll be at the Zine Fest here at the library on May 31st, and that's something we've done repeatedly. It's a super fun community to be a part of. And then we will be doing an event with some artists from Terrain who are portrait artists, and they're going to be giving away portraits to anyone who donates to us a book drive at Jupiter's Eye.
Oh, wow.
Which is really exciting. But stay tuned. I know I've said it about 10 times, but bookstoprisoners.org. We try really hard to keep updated there on all our events that we're doing. So stay tuned. Check it out there. We did some of the Pride festivals, some of the smaller ones last year. So we may be looking for more things like that.
That's wonderful. And I'll definitely make sure to link their website down below. But thank you all for coming on today. And I look forward to going and volunteering with you all because I definitely do want to.
Thank you so much for having us.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thanks.